Hi there YouTube, Extreme Trains here. So if you have seen one of my recently updated videos, I took a look at some train theme Shinkansen gachas that I managed to find while I was on a work trip in Sydney. I went, as promised in that video, to try and find more of those engines, including the steam engine range, which apparently the people who sell these in Australia said had just been released. I wasn't able to find it, but instead I was able to find these, which are some extremely unusual gacha toys, which will also come with a bit of an interesting history as to how you acquire them and also the costs. So, what are you waiting for? Let's do it. So you can see in front of me here, 5 gacha toys, and you can see they came out in this is how they come out. They're not actually in their own little plastic balls like most of the kind of gachapon toys are. They were just wrapped in plastic. But they were an interesting little release. And what I want to show you is I did get some duplicates. So while I was hunting for the whole set, I got an extra James, who as you can see has already been opened. And I also got an extra Gordon, and this one's got a foofy face. So we'll take a look at him separately. But what I wanted to show you is what actually comes out of these when you open them up. And you get this little brochure, which shows the whole thing, money bank, and you get all this information on the back. Now, I'm going to pause this here so you can get a QR code scanner out and take a look. This company, as I said, is not... It's not, you know, Bandai, it's not Takara Tomy, it is this company. Having reviewed their QR code, they have lots and lots and lots of items that they produce for these style of toys in all kinds of random things. As far as I could find, this is the only Thomas related item that they have produced, at least it's on their website, but there may be others, and it just goes to show the massive diversity of Thomas and Friends items that you have, you know, in Japan versus what we get here in the Western world, which is insane given it's a westernized show that was made here, and yet we do not seem to take the marketing and opportunities the way that we could. The other thing that you get when you pop out this little thing is this little warning, and it includes it includes this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Not recommended for customers under 15 years old. That's a really interesting take because, who is this for if not children? Don't know, but that may be a legal thing that they put in there to avoid having to make these comply with Australian toy requirements. What is really interesting is that you can see that this is distributed by an Australian company who distributes these in Australia. But this comes inside a sealed toy. So the question that I have is how on earth do they get these into that? Which makes me then think that all of these perhaps get opened and then this gets inserted because where it was actually inside the little coin slot. That's where I found these little bits of paperwork. So I don't quite know how it all works. If you have can shed any light on anything like this, but it does then make me think that all of these were like re-shrink wrapped perhaps when they arrived in Australia, so they could insert that little piece of paper about the liability and then wrap them back up. Who knows? So in front of me, you can see all the sets. As I said, I got some duplicates. Let me crack all these open and we can take a closer look. As a side note, in a case of very good design, you can see that they all have these little plastic shields which protect their faces so they don't get damaged when they're rolling around inside the machines, which is fantastic to see. Just wanted to show you that while I unbox Hero here. Alright, I have these funny little coin money boxes out of the packaging, and you can see that they've clearly been designed, I think, so that they can roll like as balls in these pods, because they didn't have to make money boxes shaped like this in order to make the money boxes, but I think they've done that so they fit into the gacha assignment. Let's first take a look at Thomas. Again, these are all CGI designs, so you can see we've got a big Thomas face here, a very good Thomas face actually, but again, a very weird looking design. That said though, the attention to detail is fantastic. We've got the wheels here with the coupling rods, we've got the stripes, no whistles, but we do have our little deformed driver's holes, windows I should say. We've got this detailing here, we've got a lamp on the back, we've got a coal load, we've got printing on the back of the buffers. We don't even get that on actual proper toys. You can see that's what it looks like there. And then again, you just twist the little bottom and this comes out and you can see the paperwork is inside of there. So that is what Thomas looks like. He's a funky little one. He was one of the last ones that I think the last one that I managed to collect. I had to go back and try it several times. Let's go to Percy. Again, Percy looks great. This is a perfect CGI. All of these faces, I think, are perfect CGI faces. But again, Percy's proportions are very funny. But again, look at that. We've got the white running board. Also on Thomas, also on Gordon. And yep, you know, even Hero's got painting on his running board. These are the kind of details that we do not get on actual toys. Again, we've got the piston detailing, which is fantastic. No whistle, but we do have the windows for the driver's cab. Again, you can see the paperwork inside there. Core bunker detailing. Again, we've got the light on the back. Fantastic. And then the 2004 Ghislaine Thomas Limited copyright on the bottom. Coming over to Hero. Hero, and particularly Gordon, I think, suffer from the problem that happens when you have a lot of these super deformed kind of toys. That because the engines are bigger, you need to squish them. They need to be shrunk smaller to fit into the same size, which you have this weird thing where Thomas looks bigger than Hero simply because Thomas is smaller, so he can take up more space without having to be as squished. That said, Hero, again, looks great. I'm not sure if I'm on board with this grey. I think it's a bit too light. For how I usually think of Hero. I usually think of him as like that much darker kind of almost black, more this color. But I could see that they probably did this just to make it a little bit brighter. But again, the level of detail, like all the stripes in there have been printed. All of this is printed. We've got his name there. We've got these lights on top. Again, buffer detailing. The detail in the wheels too is fantastic. Is it exactly 100% accurate? No, but it's pretty darn close. And it's much closer than most other toys even try to get. And then again, you can see we've got the 2024 logo on there. So again, another great item in the context of it being super deformed. Gordon here, again, I think Gordon suffers probably the most from looking deformed, particularly the way his cab and tender are so much bigger than the rest of him. But again, perfect face. Love the white running board detailing, that detailing along there. Again, is the wheel arrangement perfect? No. Is it better than most other toys? Yes. You can see we've got the details here at the back. Again, we've got the windows, coal bunker. This is all looking very, very good. Again, they've got this weird kind of oiliness on them. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, just a little side note. And last but not least, we've got James. Again, he's looking a bit funky, but the way he kind of bumblebees out, he does remind me a bit of a Moby, which is appropriate for James when he goes a buzz buzz. Again, wheel arrangement. Not right number of wheels, at least, but the way it's set out, it's a bit funky, but again, it's a super deformed money bank jar, so of course. Otherwise, he's got all the details that he needs and more. It's fantastic. It's awesome. It's so good to see. Practically, how practical are these as money banks? I don't know, because you can't really hold that many coins in them, and particularly for an Australian purpose, this hole is not big enough for most of our coins to fit through it. So for example, a 20-cent piece, a 50-cent piece, probably even $1 will not fit through there. So while it will maybe get through that slot, you won't be able to get it out if you put it in. So the usefulness factor of these, particularly in Australia, low. The fun factor of them in terms of a collectible item that's a bit random, high. As already said earlier, I did actually get multiples. So in trying to collect the full set, you know, the way these things work is you put the money in, you twist the thing, and a random one comes out. I got an extra James, you can see here. I also got an extra Gordon. And interestingly, this Gordon has a factory error. His face is stuck on sideways. And again, there's no returns from these things. So yeah, it's like glued on. That piece has just been glued on crooked. So I have like an all engines go Gordon, where they can twist their heads like that, or their faces like that. So that's a bit random. But now we come to the last, and I think probably most interesting thing about these is the price. How much did it cost you to get all of these? Well, most of the Gacha things that you can buy when you see them, they're essentially like big walls in shopping centres which have all the machines. And this one I found in the centre of CBD of Sydney at Regent Place, which is on George Street in the city, if you know anything about Sydney. The way you do it is that because it's Japanese, you can't just put Australian coins in. You have to like buy a token from the machine, and then you put the token inside the machines to then spit out the little toys. These all cost 2 tokens, which is more than the previous gacha engines I just looked at, which were those little the little Shinkansen play rail-esque things. They were 1 token per capsule. These ones were 2 tokens. 1 token costs $5.10 Australian. So each of these cost $10.20, which is more than it costs to buy a Thomas metal engine for a tank engine, and is about the price of a tender engine if you can get them on sale. So to get the whole set, given I got 2 duplicates, you can see that I spent about $80 on these, getting them out. Are they worth that much? I don't think so, given they don't do anything. Again, here's my one I've reviewed recently on the channel. So again, remember, this is about $6 to $8 Australian. And this is $10. Which one would I prefer? Clearly it would be this one, because it's playable, it's functional, you know, it's much more sturdy, it's die cast rather than plastic. So you're definitely paying a premium for these, versus if you just got a normal toy. The other thing too is that on the packaging, it actually shows that these are meant to be about 500 yen, which I think translates to about $6 Australian at the time of filming this video. So there's certainly an Australia tax being put on, which I understand. The business that produces these and imports them has to do a lot of work to get them to Australia from Japan. But it does mean, of course, that you're paying a lot more for them. So these are an item where if you like random zany Thomas things, by all means collect them. But you are running the gauntlet that you're going to have to get extras. And like, who knows how many more extras I would have had to get before I got a full set. And they are not cheap, unlike some other previous gacha items I looked at, even back on my old channel, where I think they were like a gold coin to get an item. So quite a long video to talk about quite small things, but hopefully you found this really interesting. I think these are pretty cool. I'm very happy to have them in my collection, but I'm perhaps not sure I'd recommend them to everyone. And particularly, I don't think I'd recommend importing them. I saw, I think Pijatelji Thomas at the time of producing this video has just imported some of these, or is going to import them, which is the UK Thomas shop. I don't think I would recommend that you order them from there. They will be expensive because they've had to import them from Japan, and then they'll have to ship them out to you. And I don't think I'd recommend these. If you're going to get something imported from Japan Thomas, get some play rail, get some push-alongs, get literally anything else. I don't think these are the ones that I would be collecting. For example, I think the McDonald's toys in Japan look much more interesting. But stay tuned on that front. So, thanks for watching. Hopefully you've stuck around to the end. If you haven't, sad. You won't know that I have said this. But otherwise, that's all we've got time for. This is Extreme Trains.